Hey guys, welcome back to Jason and Joni Builds. Today we are going to work on converting our 3-speed manual transmission to the AOD, which involves the advanced adapter installation and modifying the crossmember. So you guys stay tuned and let's get started. Alright guys, so what we have is our advanced adapters, AOD conversion housing, and then we have our stock 3-speed, basically adapter housing to the transfer case. What I wanted to show you is some of the differences, what you're going to be up against if you make this conversion. So anyways, in your kit, you'll have your bearing adapter, which goes in the housing. Make sure you look under the packaging. For a second I didn't think they sent it, but anyways, it's in there. You got a seal, bearing, retainer, then all the hardware to bolt this thing up, and then it comes with 2 shafts, and then our shaft that goes inside the transfer case. And I'm not going to unwrap this one, but this goes inside the AOD, which once all this goes together, they make. Alright, they mimicked the stock mounting locations. They're a little bit different. The case is fatter at the bottom. So come around here, Joni. And so what we're going to end up having to do is notch the crossmember out. So, and they show this in the kit, but they show a really big, ugly square. I'm going to try to get mine a little bit tighter. And they just say, they're just kind of giving you an idea how to do it. And then you'll have to modify these, your rubber mounts. What I did is I already took a hole saw and cut one. I just wanted to make sure that would work. We'll go cut the other one here in a second. But once you cut this down, and then you'll taper your rubber all the way around, that way it'll fit tighter up into this one. Right now you can see the whole difference and where this is so much wider. So this will actually be more of a wedge shape. So that's what we're going to do today. We want to get this mounted to this adapter, and we'll also go ahead and get our bearing installed in the housing, the snap ring, and then we'll go ahead and install our shaft and bearings in the transfer case, so that much more will be done. We didn't get that finished on the last video. So anyways, let's move forward. Let's get these bushings made up. How I went about cutting this with a hole saw, I just found something that I could tighten up the tolerance inside, because you have your pilot drill and then your hole saw. So I just found some old AN fittings, and what I did is just run this down on it. Anyways, and now it sort of tightens up my hole. We'll be able to use the hole saw to drill this top out like I did the other one, wherever I put it. Sorry. All right. All ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so with the hole saw, I just got it, got the center cut out, and then I can pull that off because all that's vulcanized to that washer. So now I'll go grind all this pretty. I'm going to use the belt sander to give the mounts a conical shape. So we'll get this done and be right back. All right, we've got these milled down, you know. So basically what happens now, let me show you, is that allows them to go up next to that case, because right in here is where it gets really tight. Alright, now it comes into the modification of the crossmember. So we're about a 1/2 inch on both sides. So what I'll do to start with is probably start about a 1/2 inch behind these bushings, and I'm just going to cut the bottom out. We'll get it clearanced first, and once we get it clearanced, and then I'll make a piece that lays back in the center and we'll weld it up. I'm going to get me some chalk and mark it. We've got the crossmember trimmed, as you can see here. Basically, this sort of a deep V. I'll come around here and I'll show you. This hole here is for one of the Allen head bolts that go into the transmission on your adapter case here. I didn't want to take all that out, all the way down there, then you really only had that profile right here that would be holding this back side. So what I did is this, we'll put an enlarged hole so when this thing slides in there, that this Allen headed bolt will be sitting on the other side through that hole. So that's really the only one that was kind of in the way. As you can see, the modified mounts are in place, and I think that's going to work. As you can see, we clear here. Anyways, the mount's clear everywhere. I don't think I'm going to take any more off of that, because we can always slide the mount and make sure this thing stays back. But it is close everywhere around it, but we can make it work. So we'll cut a piece, we'll fill this void back up, weld it out, grind it smooth, and that part should be ready for sandblasting. All right, we've got this all welded in. We've got I just made a plate. You guys have seen me do patch panels and templates before. So I've got that in, it's welded out. We'll be able to just drop our mounts in, our transmission. We'll mount right to it. And again, I have a hole in here for a bolt that actually is this bolt right here. So when we slide the transmission up to it, the Allen head will punch through there. And then I had to relieve this just a little bit. This is just this upper edge. It was kind of getting close to the bottom edge of the transmission right in here. So I relieved that just a little bit, and when it comes time to all the weight settles on it, if I need a little bit more, I can just add a washer up under the mount there. It won't be a big deal. But anyways, this is a good deal to get done today. I was really thinking I was going to have to fabricate this whole cross member, but this way I can keep the mounts on the frame. I can reuse this original part, and it still has the bumper, the transfer case bumper on it. This is good. I'm glad to get this done. We're going to get our bearing pressed into our bearing housing. We'll put in our snap ring, and we'll press the shaft on. We can put this in the transfer case. Well, we got one more set of needle bearings that we have to do. It's kind of a pain. We'll get those put in, and go ahead and attach this. We can put this in, and then we can show you how the adapter attaches to the transfer case. And then we'll just, at some point, I'll remove this, take this and the transmission to the shop, have them rebuild it. But just want to show you guys how all this stuff bolts together. And plus, we will have already pre-fit it, and this is another part we don't have to worry about. I've already put this seal in. Now, when you're looking at it like this, the seal, the face of the seal is towards you. You want the open end towards the transmission. So, because basically what this seal is doing is sealing the transmission fluid inside the transmission. It's not holding the grease inside the transfer case. So that's why you see what you would typically see on the front side is reversed, because this end is towards the transfer case, this end is transmission. All right, so all I do is just have a big socket, just to tap it down. I'm going to get the snap ring installed. For that, I'm just going to use this big, just a pair of needle nose. The snap ring is so big. Push it in. So, like so. Transfer case. This sticks out. This goes into the transfer case. So we're going to go use the press this on. We're good. And I did put a little bit of oil on my seal before I put it in. Okay guys, here's another check for you to know if you've got your bearing in your retainer like it's supposed to be. When you get your snap ring should just go into that groove. And in mine it's nice and tight. So we'll get the snap ring put on, we'll get our bearings put inside the transfer case, and then we'll be done. Alright, so I'm just going to put my snap ring on. I'm just going to kind of walk it around. Kind of get it held down on one side. And I can look at my groove and make sure it's in. That looks good. Alright, we're gonna put our needle bearings into our transfer case, and we'll do it just like we did our other shaft here, our idler shaft. So we're just gonna put some grease inside there so it holds it. Don't want to put too much, and then we'll put a little bit on each bearing as it goes in. So this will be kind of hard for you guys to see. This is definitely not my favorite part of this job. Alright guys, as y'all saw, we got 13 bearings inside the transfer case. They're all lined up pretty, sitting up where they're supposed to be. We've got some oil put on this. I'm going to put a little bit around my ring here. Just sort of help it slide into place. Sorry, a little nervous. But I tell you what, this thing won't go all the way on if one of the bearings comes loose. Okay, I've got it. I was trying to be real ginger with it as I was pushing it in, kind of working my fingernail up against that O-ring so it didn't cut it, because it's kind of a sharp edge right there. So I just kept pushing and it just kind of popped on. And just keep working it till we get it in place, hopefully. I'm just going to use a block of wood and kind of help set it. There it goes. It's kind of nerve-wracking. You just don't want to hammer on stuff and break anything. But I'm glad to have this thing buttoned up finally. One last thing, we will show you how we mount the adapter to it, and we'll be done for now. Okay guys, the kit comes with some studs. Because of the way the adapter is made, you can't put a bolt in and tighten it down. But the thing about it, these studs are threaded all the way through, and you got gears behind there, so it kind of concerns me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Loctite on it, and this is just blue, so it's removable. At least I won't go too far. I measured it, it's about 7/8 of an inch thick right in here, so, and the bolt's 2 inches long. I'm going to run it down to 3/4 of an inch, and that'll leave me 1 1/4 inches out. So, look. I'll just use my gauge here. That's 1 1/4 inches right there. Notice do the same thing all the way around. The advanced adapter kit doesn't give very good instructions on really where it all goes. It's basically a parts breakdown and then how, their idea for your crossmember. But so I'm sort of doing this on my own, just give me some peace of mind. Maybe I'm not messing up. So again, the blue is removable. It'll just sort of help hold them in place. Alright, so finally my studs are in place. We got them Loctited. We just take this. I don't have the gasket on it yet. I'll put the gasket on once I've got the transmission back. I just didn't want to mess the gasket up right now. But just to show you guys, that goes back together. And this is why I was talking about you couldn't get the bolts in, but now we can at least get a nut and a lock washer on it. Guys, this is a big part of the project checked off the list. We adapter is on, that's fit, crossmember is fit. We'll test it on the frame with the engine here in the next few days. I know you guys probably noticed I don't have the yoke on yet. I made a mistake on the other video, and we're going to insert it in, but I forgot to put in the gasket over here at your yoke. So it basically goes in, your seal goes on top of that, then you put your yoke in. Well, I neglected to put that in. I already messed up one of the seals, so I had to order one. Well, I'm going to order two, because I'm going to go ahead and pull this seal back out and do it like it's supposed to be. I'm sorry, I made a mistake, so don't do that. We'll fix it in the video, but just if you eagle eye guys that are out there watching and see that I don't have a yoke on there, that's why. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll be back. Don't know what we're doing next, but we'll be doing something. Something to try to get this project moving forward. Alright guys, I wanted to show you this real quick. I did the adapter video yesterday, and I had this on my mind, and I had to, it's one of those things I had to get done this weekend. And I told Johnny we would just attach it to the end of the video. But where we modified the crossmember, I just wanted to show you guys how it fit in. It's pretty seamless. It looks good. It doesn't look modified, from, the outside or underneath. Be good and strong. What I had to do was, just like they say, this automatic overdrive transmission is 1 3/4 inches longer than the stock. So if you see those 2 bolts there's 4 bolts that hold this frame mount on. So I just took the bolts out and I moved it back. I attached it to the crossmember. The dimension I told you I took when I removed the engine and transmission from the frame was 2 inches. So now basically right in here I have 2 inches centerline the shaft to the top of the frame, which is about what I measured with the stock transmission. So I'm in good shape there. And I did add 1 washer. We talked about possibly doing that. Added a washer underneath. Fits good. So what I'm going to do is I've drilled and tapped 2 bolts in each frame where they're relocated. Now when I pull the engine and transmission back off, I'll clean the frame up. I'll bolt them back down, then I'm going to weld those brackets out. I'll still have my adjustment here. The brackets on the frame are slotted from front to back. This one's straight bolted, but this one here is actually got a slot in it. So it just sort of helps for misfits. And again, this one is slotted in this direction underneath. Y'all laugh. You got to mock it up, right, before you can make it pretty? Well, this is mocking it up before you get pretty. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and you guys have a great day.